All right, guys, we got one left. We've covered 6 of the 7: motion, ask, nice, evidence, trust, and supply. Let's talk about give. Here's what we mean by give. When you give something to someone, they feel pressure to do what? Yeah, that's what it's called. In psychology, it's called reciprocity. I just want you to think about a gift. You give something to someone. Last night, I took Sebastian and Jacqueline out to dinner. Now, Sebastian will feel pressure the next time we go, okay, not Sebastian, I'm talking most guys. The next time we go out, Sebastian will feel pressure to do what? Buy. That's what we do. You had it last time, I get it this time. When you give something to someone, they feel pressure to give back. And it's very interesting that if this is done manipulatively, though, people can understand it, and people will resent it. If they think you're giving them something just to buy a yes. And in fact, most corporations in America have rules that say their employees cannot accept gifts because of the power of this, because they know that their employees will then feel the power of reciprocity and the need to give back. Okay, so let's talk about where this was first studied. So some psychologists actually decided to study a group of folks who had come to New York City in the 1970s called the Hare Krishnas. And the Hare Krishnas walked down the streets in New York wearing flowing robes, banging little cymbals together, asking New Yorkers to give them money. And this was a dismal failure. And then all of a sudden, the Krishnas came up with a tactic. And some psychologists call this a manipulation, and I agree with them. The Krishnas, instead of wearing flowing robes, wore normal attire, and they waited in the airports for Americans coming home to get off planes, and they carried colorful carnations, 10-cent flowers, and oh, really, welcome to New York, please, please, it's our gift to you, it's our gift to you. And most Americans did what? Accepted it, and said what? Oh, you're welcome. We're the Welcome Society here at the airport, and we would hope you would maybe make a small donation to help us welcome other American travelers home. He's holding the flower, he feels the pressure of the gift, he reaches into his pocket, pulls out the smallest bill he's got, $1, pays $1 for a 10-cent carnation. How profitable is this already? Okay, wait a second, because you're going to see how profitable it really was. This guy, as soon as he gets a chance and walks away, first trash can he passes, what does he do with the flower? Chucks it. And the psychologists are studying this, go, this is amazing. 10 steps away, he paid $1 for that flower, now he throws it out. And then they saw, behind every trash can was standing what? One Krishna, whose job it was to pick up the flowers and take them back to the gate to sell again. How profitable is this now when you sell the same 10-cent flower for $1 all day? But it's a manipulation, you know why? Here's what I want you to write under give. It has to be useful. It has to be personally useful to someone, or people will think of your gift as a manipulation. By the way, how many times is this guy going to get tricked like that? That's it. Next time this New Yorker comes home and a Krishna tries to hand him a flower, what does he do? What does he do? No, thank you. No, thank you. Not in New York. They take the flower, drop it on the ground and go, really? Your gift to me? Let's see you sell that again now, buddy. Then the Krishnas came up with their second con. It was during the Reagan administration. President Reagan had just gotten the hostages back from Iran. Okay? Krishnas went to the airport now with flowers. What did they ask? What they asked themselves, what can we give to Americans that we know they won't throw on the ground and step on? Little American flags. So, but here's my question. That's a manipulation, but what could you give to people that they would find of value? Here, I'll give you an example. You all remember when the not-for-profits used to do this. My grandmother, before she passed, a little farm town in upstate New York called Batavia, my father had retired from IBM, and he and my mom moved back to Rochester to be close to the grandparents before they passed. And my dad would go in a couple times a week, and he would do her, balance her checkbook, and Ma, I said, I don't understand. Last 2 years, a couple weeks after Christmas, you're writing a check for $200 to the American Cancer Society. I don't understand. No one in the family's ever even had cancer. What are you doing, Ma? She says, Mikey, send those people the money. Every year they send me those peel-off labels with my name on them. I use them for all the Christmas cards. I put them on all the boxes. You know the labels? They were useful to my grandmother, and they were personal. So what did she feel? Obligated. Guys, when you give something to someone that's personal and useful, they feel obligated. When you give something that's not personal, not useful, it's a manipulation. There's a realtor in Chester County who sends me an Eagles football calendar every year. And I think he's a schmuck because I don't like football. He knows, what's he doing? What's the message he's sending me by sending me this calendar every year? I know nothing about you. What's a realtor going to make if I choose them to sell my house? Yeah, 6%. Is it worth maybe him learning a little bit about me before he sends something? Or sending something that I'm going to think, hey, he doesn't know anything about me. So let me give you 3 I's right now. I call them the 3 I's. 3 things you can give to anyone. You just got to take a step back and think about how you can, even if a company has a rule that says you can't, you can give them one of the 3 I's. Here's the first I. Give them an invitation. How many of you know someone who would have gotten benefit from hearing this talk today? How many of you know someone who would have gotten benefit from being here? How about you create an event like this that you can invite them to? This is what big companies do. CEO groups, if they invite other CEOs, those CEOs feel they owe you. Okay? Number 1, invitations. Number 2, introductions. Who do you know that you can connect them with? Your network is really important. So take a step back and say, who do we know that we can introduce them to? I met a CEO in Asheville, North Carolina, no, in Greenville, North Carolina. Greensboro, that's it. Greensboro has a bird hunting plantation. I met another CEO, female CEO in the Chicago area. Her specialty is taking Board of Trade brokers on hunting expeditions and cooking them gourmet meals with what they hunt. I introduced these two, that's a no-brainer. They were doing business within 1 week. She was bringing clients to his bird hunting plantation. Was there anything in it for me in making that introduction? Yes or no? You're damn right. An incredible speaker named Michael Alasso. I call Michael Alasso because I love Michael Alasso. And I tell him, it's now time. I'm going to help you get your book published. I'm also going to help you get your stuff put on video and get up. He says, Dino, I have to pay you. I says, Michael, you're not going to pay me. I'm going to get this done for you. I know the people. I'm going to introduce you to them. I know the guy Henry's going to get your book done. I know that I'm going to make those introductions. Is there anything in it for me? And telling a legendary speaker on the CEO network and doing this stuff is there anything in it for me? Yes or no? Me helping him be successful? Of course there is. That's why if you look at the icon, it's that infinity. You know, what we send out, we get back, guys. There's 3 things that you guys can be sending out. Invitations, introductions, and the third I, information. I send out a monthly newsletter, and I don't charge for that newsletter. By the way, John Dame, who did the introduction here today, he sends out a daily newsletter. And I get that newsletter. You don't have to send stuff out daily. You don't have to send stuff out, but let me just tell you the value. John sent out an email to all his members and friends. He sent out in August. And the email asked 3 questions. And you heard me use this with you earlier today. Here were the 3 questions. Are you ready? What are the first 3 things that someone has to do to say yes to you? Can you eliminate 2 of them? Think about the obstacles that prevent people from buying from you. You heard me tell you about these 3 questions earlier today, right? Guess what? When I got that email from John, I took a step back. And I said, what are the first 3 things a customer, well, they got to find out if I'm available to speak on a certain day, because I do a lot of keynotes, I do a lot of that sort of, so I just said to my assistant, Sarah, let's put my calendar live on the internet. Just have them check. They don't even have to talk to me. They'll see if I'm available. Second thing they have to do is say, well, how does it all work? So what I decided to do was put together a template that's available for anyone so they get, boom, done. By the way, those 2 things generated a keynote for me, about $8,000 within 1 week of me reading John's email. Was it worth it to me to read that email? Yes or no? How can you guys send out information? How can you package information in small bite-sized quantities? Take a moment and think about that. Okay? So right now I want you to make a list. I want you to write down the 3 I's on a blank sheet of paper. I want you to come up with at least 2 things you can invite that target that you mentioned to. Take a moment right now. At least 2 things you can invite them to. I want you to think of at least 2 people you can introduce them to. I want you to think of 2 pieces of information you can make available to them that they will find of value.